Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. We just killing time, but some be killing us. Trying to speak the truth, but who they really trust? Mike on, got the city tuned in. Ain't no capping every take straight gems. This ain't just a combo, it's a mind shift. Tell them wake up, see the plot twist. They don't like the real, they want the nonsense. But we too solid, no slip, no misstep. We talking growth, talking pain, talking lessons learned. Talking money, talking hustle, how to wait your turn. Ain't no gimmicks in my spirit, boy, I keep it firm. When you hear that mic,
what's going on, everybody?
They trying to keep us lost in the lies, yeah.
Are we popping?
Are we? We live?
Yes. Hey, y'all, what's up? This is DJ Trade A with my co-host, Lonely Coleon.
Yo,
and
what
we
up,
got a
man?
special guest with us today. Tell the people who you are, man.
Yeah, my name's Dustin Ferris. I guess they want to interview me because I'm a Freemason. I've been a Mason for 24, will be 25 years very soon. I am currently a member of Oasis Lodge number 41 here in lovely Las Vegas. I give the standard disclaimer that my views are my own and do not represent that of my lodge, any lodge, or any grand lodge in any grand Masonic jurisdiction throughout the world. They are simply my own views.
All right, man, that's what's up, man.
That shit sounded hella deep,
Hey,
gang.
this is my boy Dustin, man.
What's up?
My man.
You already know,
And
bro.
Meeting LC today, and it has been a pleasure thus
Yes,
far.
sir, yes, sir,
Definitely
yes, sir.
in the pre-interview
Hey, man.
portion.
Hey, well, thank you for being here, man.
I'm
All
happy
right, let's
to be
give it-
here. It's a good Memorial Day.
Yeah, it
Beautiful
is,
day.
huh?
Yeah.
Real.
Man, did you do anything today?
I did. I actually went over to a barbecue with a bunch of my Masonic brothers.
Okay, how was that?
It was a good time. A lot of
Good
deep
eats.
and not good eats, some deep and some shallow conversation, both.
Okay.
It's a good time all around.
Yeah, I know y'all be in some secret shit.
Yeah, they like talking them secrets,
You know,
Secret
just to see,
barbecue.
we got the secret spice rub. It was,
You got the secret spice, bro. They said they got the They said we got secret recipes for your ass.
we do. We have the recipe on how to make a good man better is the only one that's, you know, and it's not all that secret.
Oh, that secret.
It isn't. It isn't. I think people must do the things that make a Mason a good man, sometimes without not actually becoming a Mason.
Right.
Masonry is just one of many systems that can allow a person to become better.
So you could be from any religion and still become a Freemason?
You can. You
Yeah.
have to believe in a higher power, in God, whatever that means.
So
'Cause
you
that's a
have
limiting
any God?
term. That's any religion, you believe in a higher power. That is our rule.
Okay.
And we are not going to get into anybody's business about what God that is. And there's some people think that the York Rite of Freemasonry, which is one of many side clubs you can join once you become a third degree Mason, that you have to be Christian. And right now, the guy who is the president, if you will, of my York Rite club is a Jewish guy. So that blows that apart.
Right.
Is it just- yeah.
Yeah, you in a certain portion of the York Rite, you swear to defend the Christian faith. Well, I swear to defend.
So is that what
Everybody's
Masonry
faith.
is? So, what in your own words, what is Freemason?
What is Freemasonry?
Yeah.
What is that? Is that like is it a religion? I mean, it's not,
It's not a
since you
religion.
do since everybody.
It's
is
not a
involved,
religion.
so
It is a fraternity that has religious overtones and helps people explore their own religion.
Right.
It's not necessarily specifically philanthropy, like which is giving,
Right.
but we do give. The Masonry is, I've heard it said that it is a curious system of morality, veiled in allegory and illustrated through symbols. And that really, it's a way that it's a system of
Son,
initiations
move.
that
It's all right.
That's all right. That's all right. You want to come hang out and talk about masonry? We got a youth group called Demo Lake, called the Order of Demo Lake. Masonry is a system of plays that a man can go through that speak to his mind in symbols in a way that, sure, I could tell you what the lessons are, but it's, you will hear me but not listen.
Right.
If you see what the lessons are and go through them in a play where you're the central character, then you have no choice but to listen and have it take.
I was wondering, your fellowship being so old, like 1,700 years and stuff like that. Do y'all have like relics and shit like that, and stuff that y'all have from like old times and like, you know what I mean? It's like Bible shit, or like, you know what I mean? Like the Vatican and all of those shit. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, so there are Masonic museums, and every lodge likes to hang on to the equipment that they've had. But if something breaks, we'll update it. You know.
Okay.
We do have one of my lodges that I go to has a Bible that was the Bible that they used to have prayer services while they were building the Hoover Dam.
Okay.
It goes back that far. But as
Bodies
far as
buried in there, don't they?
I mean, bodies in Lake Mead too, ain't there?
You know what I mean?
I guess it is.
I think a lot of people did die in the process of building the Boulder Dam.
Right.
And probably a lot of Masons borrowed materials to go and build Boulder Lodge, Boulder City Lodge over there.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cold. Yeah, I'll be like, you ever seen that movie, what's that, National Treasure? You know what I mean? With
I'm aware of it.
Yeah, that movie, and it be having
That was
like
about
the
Freemasons.
It was about Freemasons and how like and like how they were all in our government and so on and so forth, and how they had like secret treasure and shit like that. You know what I mean? I like when I watch stuff like that.
A lot of secrets.
I'll be like, bro, they be like, you know what I mean, Benjamin Franklin and all them, like, you know what I mean, y'all got like a deep club where y'all have like a lot of powerful people in powerful positions.
Let me try something.
You know what I'm saying?
Don't get on camera.
I don't know what that is.
What's that supposed to mean?
I have no idea what you mean. You tried this one other time, and you may be barking up the right tree, but you're not. Lots of people have different handshakes, right? Like pro wrestlers because. Full disclosure, I was a pro wrestler in a previous life. Look me up, Norman the Belligerent. Norman the Belligerent, check him out. Shake hands like this, very lightly and with two fingers. And it makes a K in sign language, which is for kayfabe, which is Pig Latin morphed for ekphe, like fake, like what wrestling isn't. But you squeeze as lightly as possible to say, as light as I shake your hand is as light as I will be with you in the ring. You can trust me.
Right.
Secret handshakes are all over the place, right?
I get it.
You came up with little secret handshake games with your friends when you were on the playground.
Me and our homies, we got handshakes and shit. Me and my kid, we do handshakes. Facts.
So Masonry only has.
You see LeBron doing the same shit. Shout out LeBron.
Shout out to LeBron. Basketball's boring these days, though.
That's
Give
cold.
me Bill Laimbeer.
Yeah, you want to see somebody just fight.
I want to see blood.
He just want to see him fight.
I want to see blood.
It was tough. Yeah, I get it.
But Masonry only has one thing. All of our stuff is in print.
Right.
I would hand you my ritual book if I had it with me. I just cleaned my car, I would run out to my car and get it out of my glove box because I'm always studying. Because everything we do is by memory when we put on those plays. And I've handed Jerry my book.
Yeah, I've seen it
several times before. Everything that we do is in print. The only thing that is not in print that is a secret is the handshake, which you could look that up online. The passwords. Once again, you could look that up online.
You said it. Now you can Google anything.
You can.
Just Google it.
That's a handshake.
There's an episode of the TV show News Radio where they straight say the secret word of a Master Mason, the 3rd degree secret word, out loud, and it's the right one. I don't say it out of respect.
Right.
Out of
Right.
that's something we hold as sacred. You only say it when you're in a lodge.
Right.
And the third thing that's secret is the hand signs.
Right.
So the only things that are secret are the ways that, in theory, you could prove me that you're a Freemason.
Okay.
But even if you come up to me and you shake my hand and you got all the right words and all the right hand signs, I'm probably going to ask you if I wonder whether or not you're a Mason, which is usually not my business, and I don't give a damn. Okay, let me see your dues card.
So let me ask you this.
Because we all have a little dues card that says you paid your year's dues. And that's the way you can really know is...
You got your
You
card.
got your little card?
Yeah, I got my little card that says I'm a member of the Freemasons. Right there.
That's the card.
That's nice. Yeah, that all right.
The real
So that's
secret,
like a passport.
The real secret, it is. It
It's like
is.
a passport.
It lets
It's
you
your
travel to
Freemason
any lodge in the world. But the real secret is what it does to you.
That means you got brothers everywhere.
We do.
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
He didn't say the country. He said the world.
Hey, so let me ask you this question: what
That's
really
crazy.
drawn you to wanting to be a Freemason, and what were you going to gain? Like, what do you gain from being a Freemason?
So both of my grandpas were Masons, and when I was 11 or so, one of my grandpas passed away, and I saw his Masonic funeral service. And I didn't even know then I wanted to be a Mason, but I knew that it impacted me. I remember looking over at my aunt and like, what are these people and what are they doing? Why are they wearing these little white aprons? And why
Did
do
you think
they
they were
have
Ku
this?
Klux Klan at first?
No, I thought they were magicians. So the short answer, I thought
He
they were
said, I
wizards.
thought they were magicians.
I thought they were wizards.
Oh, that's tight though. Now when you think about it though,
How old were
without
you
the
when you seen the
bullshit.
pictures?
Yeah,
Without the
I was
bullshit, that's
11
dope.
years
You was
old.
about 11, so you
Yeah.
saw.
So when I was
That's tight though.
17
He said, I
or
thought they
so,
was wizards.
I got started really interested in magic and being a wizard and
Right.
like ceremonial magic, and I found the Masons.
He was
It was
playing like
I
Dungeons and
asked a
Dragons
Mason.
and shit too, and like stuff like that. Warcraft and stuff. He was playing like stuff like that. You used to play games and stuff.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
used to like those games.
Yeah, like Call of Cthulhu, Dungeons
Yeah,
and
those was
Dragons,
hard.
Magic the Gathering.
Yeah,
my
I used to
little
play a lot of
brother played that more
RPG
than I
games
did.
back
I called
then.
him a nerd.
Yeah, I used to play a lot of RPG games like that though. That's crazy.
The cool thing is,
Yeah.
I found out you can be a wizard in
Right.
the Masonic Lodge, but it's the most boring thing that you could ever imagine.
Is that
you
one
learn
of the
so
highest?
much. No,
No.
it's everybody.
Oh,
Any
everybody can be a
person who
wizard.
becomes a Mason can be a wizard if
Okay.
they let it take the right way. But it's boring. You just learn so much about yourself and who you are. You get to understand how other people work because you start thinking about how you work. So you understand how other people work, and you understand a little bit more how to move the pieces of society.
Okay.
And then when it really takes, you say, hands off. I'm just letting the pieces fall wherever they will because God knows better than I do.
Free will.
And that's the biggest free will. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that is the biggest secret that happens is you stop trying to move things and start acquiescing to the will of God. And that's why it's important that we take
I
all
see what you're saying. It's more of a way of life and a way of living, and then a way of thinking and finding yourself, which is in tune, being in tune with your own consciousness, which kind of like have you in tune with everything. You
It
know what I
is.
mean? It's damn near like being a Jedi. You got the you understanding the Force type shit.
It
you know
is
what I'm
a little
saying?
bit like that.
Like when you think about the analogy of like, you know what I mean, how you kind of see everything, and then you know what I mean. That's just kind of what I just got from what you just said, like, because you was just like know yourself, then you start knowing everybody else, and then you start letting just the pieces fall, because the Force is gonna be what it is. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? It's gonna be, you know what I mean. There's no reason to even, you know what I mean, stress or anything else on it, because God has His own plan, and I don't even need to worry about it no more.
Absolutely.
Type shit. Yeah.
That's cool.
That's that good consciousness.
that part.
That's that
You
good
like
consciousness.
that.
I like that shit. You know what I'm saying? I like anything that make you think. You know what I mean? When you because I'm into that ancient shit. You know what I'm saying? That's why I start asking about relics. I'll be like, what's going on? What about the Bible? And like, you know what I mean? You read like the Book of Enoch and all that. You be like, you know what I mean?
I know about the Book of Enoch, but not necessarily because of Freemasonry, but because of another club I'm a member of.
Okay.
Called the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn.
Okay.
That was formed by a bunch of Masons, but is not Masonry. And they try to do even deeper magic.
Okay.
But it's all in your head.
Right. Hell yeah.
Lon Milo Duquette, one of my favorite magicians, said, "It's all in your head. You just forget how big your head is."
Right.
Everything in the world's right here. You can't prove that we aren't dreaming right now.
Absolutely. We in the Matrix.
We definitely
We are in the Matrix.
We in the Matrix.
We
You know what I
definitely
mean?
are.
Hey, so
You living in the Avatar player.
yeah, so the Freemasons have a long, somewhat history of mystery. Now, do you guys does the Freemasons have a history with the Illuminati?
I forgot about asking about
the Illuminati's out there, and you know they go back to the 1700s too.
They
and
do.
that's about so. And I
So
hear
they see shit
y'all
being
are more
intertwined.
political, right?
No. We
Or-
can't
or
talk.
was it
the two things that you cannot talk about in a Masonic lodge is religion and politics.
In politics. So does that
We
must
have
be
to
the
open in the
Illuminati?
name of God.
Uh-huh.
Oh, we say a prayer that is to the grand architect of the universe. You open in the name of God, but can't talk about religion. You have to vote because we're a club, so we do business, and we have to vote, and it votes by a majority, but you can't talk about politics. That's two things that causes you to break your mind right away and break down all of your preconceptions about who people are.
But you guys got judges and
We do.
lawyers and
We
and
got,
stuff
you
like
know
that,
what? We
like,
got
and
all
politicians.
different people.
Yeah,
When
all
Teddy
walks of
Roosevelt
life.
was president,
Yeah.
the master of his lodge was his gardener. So
Wow.
when they went into lodge and that gavel hit, his gardener was the president's boss.
That's crazy.
Masonry takes men of all kinds.
But do y'all entangle with the
Illuminati?
The Illuminati?
The Illuminati was founded in the 1700s by a guy named Adam Weishaupt, who thought the Masons were not doing enough politically.
Okay.
So the idea of Illuminatis is a Mason who has decided to be someone who shakes stuff up inside of a lodge.
So Illuminatis are a branch off of the Freemasons, is what you're saying.
In a way.
So somebody
At the time.
just went and
But
did
if
their own
somebody
thing.
was an Illuminati, they probably wouldn't tell you.
Right.
Because they're the type of person
Yeah,
that's
it's-
going into a lodge and being disruptive to keep things moving. Because otherwise, then it's just a bunch of old guys going for pancake breakfasts and fish fry dinners and crock pot green beans and not doing the work that we're supposed to be doing.
Okay.
And the work is
So if somebody
Yeah, what is that word?
making good men better,
just
continuing
making
the
it better.
pursuit of higher consciousness, I would say, in a nutshell. And that comes in different forms. Lots of guys get it from, I get a lot of things from ritual. I love putting on the degrees. I love acting and letting that character that I'm playing in the degree, and they're all based on biblical lessons, let that character wash over me. And in the course of an evening, you go through the entire gamut of human emotion. So then when you go out in the real world, you can, like we were talking in the pre-interview,
Right.
keeping your emotions in check.
Right.
You were talking about a security guard's
Absolutely.
needing to keep their emotion in check. Or you in your job, or you in your job. I worked your job with you. I know you got to keep your emotions in check.
Oh yeah.
Or you don't
Out
make any
there.
money.
Yeah.
So if
Won't
you
make
can
them
go
tips.
through something in an evening where you go through the gamut of human emotions, then when you get out in the real world, whatever that is, you're able to keep that in check. And you're not swayed by exterior forces. You're singular, like I said, my thoughts are my own. My opinions are my own.
You what do y'all know about UFOs and shit? And aliens and all that
I know
shit.
y'all got something. In
I
the
know
back
y'all
books,
know
man.
something about that shit.
Yeah, because y'all go way back, man. Y'all got
Y'all
something
know,
in them.
I know it's
history
something.
books
Y'all know
or
something about them
About some aliens.
UFOs.
Y'all got
and
some
them-
carvings.
If it is, I ain't seen it yet.
Yeah.
And I've been around to a lot of lodges.
Y'all, what are your beliefs? And without the Freemasonry, what do you think about UFOs
and aliens?
Aliens?
I mean, I dig into ancient alien stuff and the Nephilim, and my sister, who's a very devout, great Christian woman, said, if Jesus returned today and he was an alien, it wouldn't change anything about how I feel about my faith.
Right.
We're all a big experiment, so who cares? It's beyond what I can know.
That's how I be looking at it too. Like, we a big ass lab project.
We
you know
are.
what I'm saying? We sitting over here flying through the cosmos, and we all rotating around the sun, and fucking all this shit is going on with crime, and like, this shit is all just a big ass fucking game. You know what I mean? When you need to just be focusing on, like he said, probably being a good man and trying to focus on how you gonna extend, so you don't have to fucking return to this shit over and over and over again. You know what I mean? And can actually walk through heaven. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you have those type of beliefs. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
I mean, it definitely teaches you, Masonry teaches you to appreciate that this moment is now. The only thing that you have control over is
now.
You and what you're doing now.
You believe in reincarnation? Do they believe in it?
Personally, I do, but I couldn't say for other Masons. The interesting thing is we have people from so many different religions. Right. It's the coolest thing about Masonry is being able to sit in lodge with
it's
people
like a game of knowledge. It's like, everybody's a book of knowledge.
Reincarnation, people that might not. I say we can't talk about religion. We can talk about the spiritual things that exist, and a lot of times that's a good lodge gives education. Like, after we have our business meeting, somebody's going to get up and read a paper about how the symbolism of Freemasonry relates back to their religion.
Right.
So that goes to my question right here. So how does Freemasons adapt over time to society changes while still maintaining its tradition?
That's fucking tough, because you just said
question.
You could Google all this shit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's like...
No, that's a big question, and that's actually those of us that are the movers and shakers in Masonry, which I don't want to in any way toot my own horn, but I do a lot for the lodge, and I have a vision of where it should go, and I have a lot of friends that are on podcasts that talk about this very thing. And we maintain our identity we say we're a progressive science.
Yes.
We continue to maintain the rituals, but what we do outside of the rituals, what our extracurricular, our fellowship times might be, has changed from, say, what it was in 1717 when the Grand Lodge of England was formed, as opposed to what it was when my grandpas were coming through, when a bunch of guys coming home from World War II needed a place to go and get away from their wives, so they joined every fraternity possible. And that's what, those are the guys that like to sit around and have their pancake breakfast and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, younger Masons are realizing that people are looking for a place to go and explore the things. It's come back full circle, the things that might have been talked about in lodges in the 1700s, consciousness and spirituality, and we get together and have discussions about that. But our fellowship portions have started to update. Like, we had a comedy night at my lodge recently, which also, as well as serving it as a time for brothers
they
to
got
get
jokes
together.
too.
Yeah.
They got jokes.
We brought in some professional comedians. We
comedians.
sat around, we had a good night, and also opened it up to the public so they could see what our lodge was doing, what
Nice lodge,
That's
man.
dope.
Remember, you still with the one with the tiki bar?
I am.
Yeah.
That's a secret
pretty nice.
thing.
Oh,
Now
you
you're
was up
telling
there?
secrets.
I've seen it.
Now you're telling secrets.
You trying to
'cause
go get a drink?
We do. We have a speakeasy that's hidden in the back of somewhere in my lodge building. That is a tiki bar that
That's dope.
shout out to Billy Crud, amazing
Billy
tiki
Crud,
artist.
Shout out to Billy
He
Crud.
built, if you're around Las Vegas, he built Golden Tiki, and he's a brother of my lodge and used his skills to turn an old storage area in our lodge into a beautiful tiki bar, and that's something that some of the guys get. a big thing we do though is men's mental health.
Right.
And we're all men here, and like, it's not a well enough talked about thing. And that was my Grand Master's message last year, was the importance of men's mental health. Male suicide is a higher rate than any of our age too. Guys in their 40s, suicide is the highest rate that there is, because sometimes you just don't have much left. And we've been told that we're strong men and we just got to be strong on our own and swallow your emotions. Masonry acts as a place where you can go and talk to dudes about things that you're feeling, and they're not going to judge you for how you feel. They're going to help you process.
I was talking to you before, and we was talking about that they don't accept felons, like, or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
So y'all don't give second chances.
Basically.
Well, I had been in trouble before I joined, but I'd had a misdemeanor for less than 2.5 grams of cannabis when I was 17 years old, tried as an adult. Now that's things that are legal, and my life is completely different, But they accepted that as a second chance. So it depends on the reality of the crime.
So basically they ain't accepting no Crips.
I mean, so that's an interesting one. So is that Crip still out running the streets?
Nah, let's just say, he around my age, and he done been through a lot, and today he's a different person than what he was, of course, 20 years ago or whatnot. You know what I'm saying?
So a different
person.
And
now he's conscious and trying to chase enlightenment, and he's focusing on taking care of his family and doing what he's supposed to be doing.
That to me sounds like a good man becoming better. And we say what we do in Masonry is make good men better.
Right.
The answer to most Masons would be no. Right. My answer is that we as Masons, if we really represent men's mental health as a mission,
right,
we should be reaching out to people like that and helping them continue their journey towards that growth.
Absolutely. You can't never forget that, a lot of people are just products of their environments. You know what I'm saying? Regardless to what someone may say, where you grew up at and where I grew up at makes a difference. You know what I'm saying? Because what I come out and see every day and what you come out and see every day is not the same reality. You know what I mean? We're in different dimensions, but living on the same plane. You know what I'm saying? And I become maybe a adult in an aggressive way earlier than most people will. You know what I mean? Because I live in an environment of war and where I see casualties and so on and so forth on a daily basis. You know what I mean? But then, once like even like someone goes somewhere and the world kind of opens up, because when you're living in one little place, you don't get to see how big the world is and how everyone else is living differently, and you don't have to live the way you live once you go somewhere else, and you be like, damn, this ain't even what I thought it was, and I can live like this, and regular people don't even think the way I think or worry about the things that I but I didn't know until I was able to be in that situation, and that's why I say, like, even with clubs like yours or whatever, somebody still has to have an open mindset and know that, hey man, everybody didn't get the same opportunities that everybody else got. You know what I mean? And even though it took some other people a little longer to get to where you at, he's there now. You know what I mean? So what's up?
Every man walks their own journey. So you're saying exactly what part of my mission in Masonry is.
Right.
Is that in order to become stronger, perhaps we need to consider reaching out further.
Right.
And as long as it's a good man, and are you currently on paper? No. Are you planning on doing any more stupid shit? No. I did some stupid shit when I was younger. Outside of being in trouble with the law a little bit, I went to a special ed high school. I was a badass little kid.
Right.
And had I not had the influence of Masons around me, might have made a lot of. I've still made some dumb mistakes.
So how old were you?
I was 21 when I joined the lodge.
21. Okay.
I was.
See, and that says, like, you know, a lot of us don't have anybody of that stature, any clubs or anything like that to be able to be like, you know what, I joined the 21. 21 motherfuckers joined the military. That's what they think. They be like, oh, we gonna join the military. Yeah. That's what we gonna do. You know what I'm saying? They don't think about, you know, that type of shit. You know what I mean? But that's a blessing to even be to be part of that, because a lot of people, you know, unless you go to some college or something, you know what I mean?
Army or something.
Absolutely.
Hey, so could you explain the basic structure of the masonry lodge, and how it operates?
Sure.
Like that makes people want to join.
Yeah. It's like the basic structure of the degrees. Basic structure. Like the first 3 degrees.
I mean, yeah, you can go there.
So it kind of works like you find a lodge and you hang out for a while and put in an application, and 3 guys from that lodge will come and investigate and interview you.
Right, let me take it back then. How do you guys kind of operate the operation? Like, so how do you guys help people like in the masonry? Like, how do y'all operate? Like how you said you sometimes help with the mental health. What else do you guys do?
So we have a scholarship fund that we give. My lodge gives out 2 scholarships to high school students in the Las Vegas area every year.
Oh, that's dope.
Every little side body. I'm a member of a club that's called the Royal Archmasons, and their aim is towards autism research and awareness. I'm also a member of the Order of Amaranth, and they're big on diabetes research and awareness.
So it's sections that helps are
help different things.
That helps different things.
The Knights Templar, if you've heard, you Knights Templar were in your Dan Brown movies.
Absolutely.
The Knights Templar are big on eye research.
Okay.
Yeah, vision and things like that. But the general structure of the lodge is 3 plays that you go through where you play the central character of the play. Theater and around, but you're the central character, but you're blindfolded, and somebody says all your lines for you. Okay. So he's standing in, and you just let it happen around you.
Are y'all putting anybody in a coffin?
No.
Why would you say that?
I mean, because it's rituals. It's dark rituals. I mean, some people put them in the coffin. Look,
I'm not an odd fellow, but
I hear they die. They put them in the coffin, so they die, and they get them out, and they come back like,
oh,
you
for
got
real?
a new life.
Oh, you reborn.
It's a new life. Yes.
So
okay.
You're barking up the right tree again.
See, I do it.
But every system of, if you look up the work of a man named Joseph Campbell, he did the journey of the universal hero or something like that. The hero's journey is what it's referred to. But if you Google Joseph Campbell, you'll eventually come across it. And it's that all myths throughout history kind of follow a very similar track, right? You're sent off on a quest. You're part of a group. You're sent off on a quest. You're separated from that group. And then you're reabsorbed into the group after you complete your quest.
Okay.
All systems of initiation, college fraternities have a similar initiation. You referred to the crypts. I would imagine to say that the process of going and being a hang-around and then eventually being jumped in, while you're being jumped in, you feel pretty fucking separate from that group.
Absolutely.
Like, I am outside this and everybody's against me. And then all of a sudden, when you make it through that, you are reabsorbed, and all of a sudden you're inside, and you're a new thing altogether.
Yeah,
you are different,
moving as one.
So every single system of initiation, every fraternity, which I would venture to say that street gangs fall into the category of fraternity in some fashion.
Tribal shit. Everybody want to be part of a tribe.
You have to find a way to change a person's mind in a way that they operate in the fashion that we do. And the fashion that we do is free will and free thought. Every system of initiation, I heard it said, is a way of allowing somebody to safely drive you crazy and back again. That's a little death right there.
Right.
So all of them have different ways of doing it.
That's crazy.
So you're barking up the right tree, but you pushed against. Once again, all this is, you can Google it. Google the legend of Hiram Abiff. I'm very open about, most Masons are pretty open about the idea of Hiram Abiff being the master builder of the Temple of Solomon, and that's what our story that we do in our plays, our initiations is based on.
So masonry is really based on being a Mason, and speaking on
one of the oldest
something
Masons.
like that. What do you think about the pyramids?
Yeah, you can read a book called The Hiram Key that thinks that it goes way back to the pyramids.
Right.
I don't know if I personally do. I think that we borrowed some of the same material.
Right.
But I don't think that there's some direct connection between the pyramids and the Freemasons that built King Solomon's temple. But I could be wrong. I think there's a direct connection between everything in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I don't know that they were the same people.
What do you know about the Anunnaki?
As much as you do, dude.
Okay.
Eric Von Daniken books, right?
Okay,
Chariots of the Gods.
Yeah, facts.
That's about as far as I go.
Facts. What do you know
I fall
about
asleep.
the Sumerian tablets?
Again, exactly what you do.
Okay, you know what I know. That's it.
I didn't mean to create this disappointing, but I told you it's the most boring type of wizardry you can
Yeah, he said, I know. He said that all the knowledge, you know it now. I don't have nothing new for you.
We were talking about it being a simulation.
Right.
And I think a lot of, especially in some of the higher degrees of Masonry, which aren't higher, they're just side moves. You got to get your first, second, and your third degree. You become a master Mason, maybe a new man, like you were saying, like back to life. Your spirit is brought back to life. And then you can join a bunch of other clubs. And in the Scottish Rite and the York Rite, which are two other clubs you can join, Scottish Rite, you hear 32nd degree Mason. York Rite, it's a Knight Templar, kind of the same level. I think it teaches you about reality being what you make it.
That's what I
that
just
it's
about to
not real unless you decide it's real. So you can create your own life.
say. Hey, so can you give us an example of how Mason's principles are applied in daily life by members?
Oh, yeah. Easily. The first one, and this is printed material again, so I ain't going anywhere. We use the tools that Masons might use in building stuff as a way to teach us things. So one of the first things you're going to get handed in your first degree is a 24-inch gauge. There's even a Masonic podcast called 2-Foot Ruler, 24-inch gauge.
What, you mean the 12 gauge?
24-inch,
hell no.
like a ruler.
Oh,
that's
you talking about
split
ruler.
up into 24 equal parts.
Okay.
There's 24 hours in the day. It teaches you to divide your time,
Okay.
right? You get handed a hammer, and it teaches you to break off parts of your character that you don't like. Change things. Mold yourself.
Okay.
Be the builder of yourself.
Okay.
So Masonic principles drive how I act every day in life. The plumb is a big thing in the second degree. And the plumb's just a pendulum, right? A plumb line in building stuff is the one that tries, like, make sure things are perpendicular.
Okay.
It's got a little swingy deal.
Yeah.
Right? It's just a pendulum. And like, my girl gets on me all the time because she calls me Switzerland, and I'm neutral. I'm just right here in the middle.
You
I'm
switch
not.
a lot.
No, I'm just not. Well, maybe if you show me a different way, but I'm not going to allow things to get in my way and sway me, because if you get passionate about things, if you get too angry, or you get too happy, you swing that pendulum of the universe, and it's going to crash back at you.
Right.
And that might hurt.
Hey,
So,
you know what I was thinking? What about like, do y'all have like a lot of, because it's a lot of symbolism and y'all go back to like astrophysics and shit like that, you know what I mean? And y'all line up stuff with the stars and shit like that too? Like, you know what I mean? You know how like all them old ass you know what I mean, they always got something to do where they be like, yeah, we fuck with the star of this and the star of that, and you know what I mean, or some shit like that.
Like they name the stars, have a name for that special star.
Yeah, or
whatever.
some
You probably would see more of that in some of the side bodies.
Right.
Or in
I'm
that
like, that shit, they be talking about masonry, so they don't build and shit, so you know how the pyramids are built on like the, what is built on the center of land mass and shit like that, you know what I mean? Masonries be built on you know, it's all about building something.
Right, about building your foundation.
Right.
But as far as the stars go, some Masons get into that. There's a lodge back in Illinois that only opens on full moons. It just depends on the specific Mason.
And then y'all have like ceremonies, it's like certain ceremonies that y'all do in those days and shit like that.
Yeah,
or something like
a lot of Masonic lodges, for example, are going to have a feast coming up around the 24th of June. That's the feast of the St. John's. So our lodges are open in the name of God and the image of St. John the Evangelist and St. John the Baptist.
Okay.
And
so
a lot of people think that those tie into
That's what I was just thinking.
Well, a lot of people think that those tie to the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn.
Okay.
If you were wanting to go into the astrological.
Absolutely.
So those are poles that pull on us.
Right.
The moon decides the tides, right?
Absolutely.
So we would be very small to assume that it wasn't affecting us in some way.
Right.
So if the moon's affecting us, that means probably all the other planets and stars are affecting
Everything is pulling on us or some.
But again, this is just my viewpoint. There are things that I think are in that Masonic ritual that are there because of certain astrological things.
Do y'all talk about like the reset of like civilizations and shit?
You mean like the 10,000 year cycle?
Yeah, like every 10,000 years of the Andreas and all that shit. Like, you know what I mean? That we have a flood, or that the world stops spinning and it spins the other way, and tidal waves crash over the earth and all that old shit like that. You know what I mean?
So
motherfuckers be acting like they know the truth.
I'm gonna end up feeding conspiracy theory by this, but there are invitational only parts of Masonry, and one of them is called the Royal Ark Mariner. It's part of allied Masonic degrees. You have to be invited.
Right.
And if you ever ask, you probably are never going to be invited, right?
Right. That shit sucks.
Interesting.
You be trying to hang around the people.
That's what I want to hang with.
But their ritual is imprint. You can go. There's a website called Scribed that has every fraternal ritual ever. And I think that ritual has a lot to do with the idea what you were talking about with a 10,000 year cycle of civilization.
Because you know about Grand Tepe and shit like that?
Yeah. But do I think it's real?
Yeah. You don't think that's real?
I think nothing and everything is real all at once.
Oh.
Once again, you can't prove that we're anything but a dream, right?
Right.
Row, row, row your boat.
Merrily, I'm real.
I can't prove. You can't prove none of this shit though. Honestly, you know what I'm saying. Everything is a mystery when you really fucking look at it. You know what I mean? Fucking everything.
Right.
You know what I mean? We don't know nothing about our history. We can go back 200 years. I don't really know nothing about nothing unless you tell me.
You don't know anything that's
something.
Even your own memory of what's happened in your life.
Yeah,
is malleable.
Absolutely.
Somebody could come in and really change. Say you and Trey Day did something when you were younger, and you're talking about it, and he's like, no, dude, it happened this way. You stupid as hell. Old girl came in, and then you slap her in the face, and then her dude come in, and you're like, no, it didn't happen like that. I beat his ass. No, you got your ass beat that night, and you might walk out of it believing.
Right.
I'm not saying you got your ass beat.
Everybody
because I don't think you got your ass beat. It was him saying it.
Right.
But so if even the memory that you have of your own life is that fallible and you can't actually prove it, I have a history degree, and part of what we study in modern history science is that to the victor goes the spoils.
Right.
Somebody's rewritten history over and over and over and over. It's really hard to prove what actually happened.
Absolutely, and and the conquerors are always the one who rewrites the history, not the people who got conquered. You know what I mean? So you'll never fucking know the truth. You know what I mean? It's always a different side of the coin, man. It's just crazy because you know, I just be wondering what motherfuckers know. What you think about giants?
About giants?
Yeah, so you think it was such thing as giants and shit like that?
No, I mean, I personally think there probably was, but
yeah,
I'm a wrestler. I've never been in the ring with some
big
dudes.
motherfuckers. That's what I was gonna say. Because some like you know the average height of a person maybe was like, you know, pretty short back in the day. Somebody walk around 7 foot tall, they might thought that they were giants or whatnot.
You're barking up the absolute right tree right now. I've been in the process of putting together stuff to revive our York Rite in Henderson. Right. And we got a bunch of old costumes from the 1950s. Mm-hmm. And when I first started, I'm over costume and design. When I first started putting my cast together, I'm like, hey, come here. I got this part for you. Come try this on. And ain't nobody as small. Yeah. We are way bigger. Yeah. You know, just medical science advances. And there might have been people from different parts of the world that were, you know, like if we stand next to a Samoan, we're going to be like, hey, I'm a small motherfucker.
Yeah, next to a Uso. Yeah. Hey, you seen that they had, like, they found, like, some hobbit bones and shit, you know, and shit like that, too?
Did you say hobbits?
Like, little people bones from, like, back in the day we're saying, like,
they got the pipers next
like,
to them?
Bad, bro. Like, this shit, I be in... The homie know I be on some shit like they be finding shit like all in Mexico and shit and all type of shit where they, you know what I mean, alien shit and all type of stuff and like digs and stuff in the Hulu and that shit crazy, bro. I just be going down all type of shit, but I'll be wondering, do y'all know anything about you know that type of shit? Because I know they've been aliens been fucking with y'all.
Again, I don't mean to be disappointing.
Yeah, I expect y'all to know about aliens.
But the cool thing is it could be real. Or it could not be. Think of it this way. Bunch of people speak Klingon, right?
Yeah, you shit, just from watching Star Trek. They made that shit up.
That is completely made up.
Yeah.
You know,
straight Trekkies.
You know what the Necronomicon is? You ever heard of the Necronomicon?
No, I don't think so.
It's a supposed cursed book. Mm-hmm. And people worship
hell yeah. It's like a witch book, but it's the dark book. Yeah.
I know worship exactly in that religion. You know what came from? A guy writing a short story, his name was H.P. Lovecraft, in the 1920s, wrote a story and decided that this book exists. And then all of a sudden, it exists.
It exists in our world.
It's something that we call...
That's the Matrix for your ass.
In esoteric thought, which is like magical thought, if you will, we call that egregore. That something that is just a thought form all of a sudden becomes something that is real.
Like
when we're doing masonry and the people who like to do the wizard side of masonry, that's what we're looking for.
You believe in telepathy?
I do. I know that it's real. I mean,
what about remote viewing?
I know all of that's real. I
know about remote viewing, bro?
Just for
hey,
my
could you tell these people what remote viewing is? Because I don't want to be the only dude that's out here a nerd.
Yeah, what is remote viewing?
They be thinking
open your third eye and seeing something in your mind that's actually occurring physically across the world. Like they did that movie, The Men Who Stare at Goats. Mm. The U.S. government's been looking into stuff like this and trying to use it as ways to engage in war.
That's what Hitler was doing back in the day, right?
A long time. That's what they were doing in the 60s with the MK
Paperclip. Tell them about Paperclip. See, hey, bro, I'll be into this shit. I'm happy to have somebody else here that's damn near a nerd like me.
I mean, so like, do you have those times? Einstein said coincidence is God's way of staying anonymous. Do you ever have those times where, like, this morning, I thought I was having a dream about a swimming pool, and when I woke up, my Masonic brother had messaged me and said, "Hey, bro, we're having a little pool party and barbecue at my house."
Imagine that.
I had to go.
Thank you.
God was telling me
to go.
I had to go. If you start and this has lesser to do with actual masonry and more to do with things that some masons are into.
Right.
But if you start looking at those coincidences and follow the guideposts, you'll probably walk yourself into a better life.
Right.
I feel that.
Man, I fuck with that shit, man. I fuck with that shit heavy, man. That shit make perfect sense to me. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. shit be crazy, man. Cause I just be I be into all this shit, and I just be like you know, they was talking about remote viewing, and like I be listening to all type of podcasts, and I forgot which one I was listening to, but he said yeah, I remote viewed back to the pyramids, and he said
Shout out Warren, I
was
see you out there.
He
Hello,
said it
Warren
was
Brown.
aliens. It was aliens for sure.
Yeah,
Hey,
so-
you ever seen that that it's like a mountain in India which is carved out from the top down? You ever
Yeah, I
seen this
did,
shit?
did.
All right, you turned me on to something.
No, I
man.
did
Bro.
see that one.
Bro, I'm
It's a pyramid, right?
You said
Bro.
your dude went and saw aliens though.
bro, he
For
he
real.
remote
You
he
can't-
remote
you can't
viewed.
prove that he didn't.
I know, that's what I'm saying. He
It's
be
happening
he
in
be
his
remote
mind.
viewing. He didn't said he didn't have like he has like a gang of people that remote view. You know what I mean? That he be teaching people how to remote view, and they done went in separate rooms and get a target, and they said, "Hey, bro, what you see?" And they don't give them the targets. You know what I mean? They just put them in a room by themselves, and they say, "Hey, tell me what you see," and then they come out and be like, "Yeah," and they'll tell you like, "Yeah, it was beings and the alien beings, and they was moving the stones with sound." I just heard this shit like a couple days ago too. That's why it's really fresh in my mind. And they were and basically like the shit in India or whatever, it said basically they remote viewed that and said that basically a fucking flying saucer flew over it and then just sat down and basically 3D printed the motherfucker down. You know what I'm saying? Like when you think like if you see this is a piece of a mountain, bro.
Yeah.
It's a fucking mountain, bro. It's a big ass fucking mountain, and it's no excavation. It's no nothing. Like the motherfuckers look like he said, it just got from the top. It just probably 3D printed it all the way motherfucking down to the point where everything burnt. I'm talking about it's a fucking bridge and everything across the thing.
Yeah.
Like how
That's
do you
crazy.
like
That's
that's
some crazy
advanced
technology.
knowledge, bro. That's advanced knowledge. That's advanced masonry building. That's why I be asking the motherfucking man. You know something about
So
these
our
aliens.
building, though,
They know something about these aliens,
Our building
man.
is a spiritual building.
Spiritual.
That's
said no,
really
I should've
what we are
about spiritual.
trying to do. To
No,
bring it
facts.
back down to earth.
Yeah,
As much as I do appreciate
Come back
this
down to earth.
exploration,
yeah. You know, I take you out there.
but I do think that the more that you build up your spiritual building and center yourself, the more maybe you're able to afford yourself to,
Right.
you know. So,
You know anybody who can remote view? No.
I mean, I often think my dreams are, but
Yeah. Right. If I was
there
to
ain't
dream
any
about
way to
something.
prove it.
Yeah.
That's the
Hey,
cool thing is it's
quiet.
all between you and God. And
You know-
I think that's why we're so big on we accept all religions.
Right.
Because it's between a man and his creator.
Right.
And it's not any of my business what your relationship
I be
is
feeling like
with God.
deja vu is kind of like it too. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know
Get
it
that
is.
deja vu.
Like when you have deja vu and you feel like
I know
you
for
done
sure
did this
it is.
before. You know what I'm saying? Like damn, man. And sometimes when I have deja vu, I stand in the moment and I just be looking around like what is supposed to happen here? I'm waiting for the black cat to walk across the screen. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just like the movie, you feel me? You know what I mean? I know I'm Neo. I'm definitely the one.
Hey, calm down.
Hey, you
bro.
gotta quit barking, you
Bentley,
big old dog.
You are a big dog.
Big old, it's a big old wolf down there, man. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
he's guarding the fort, man. He's
Yeah.
just making sure ain't nobody walking up.
But
That's
that's just
an
going into the
interesting
matrix shit.
place to go.
yeah.
So you say he's guarding the fort. All those officers in the lodge
Enough
have
is
a different
enough.
job. And we got a guy that's called the Tyler
Tyler,
that
okay.
sits outside the door and guards the door and makes sure that only Masons are allowed in there when we're open for lodge. Think about what that might mean on a spiritual level.
For him?
He's for what that means, because if all those positions in the lodge, all the officers of the lodge
That are inside, and he has to be
are
outside.
something, but they also represent something in you. If you had all those officers in the lodge, that Tyler is the aspect of you that allows you to guard against what you're going to allow in your influence.
Ah, all right. So
Right?
he's guarding the fort, all right.
I mean, you know me well enough to know that though I'm friendly to everybody, I have a very small, select circle of actual friends.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be
Speaking
influenced by a
of
bunch
that,
of
man, what's up with you guys with the Masonaries not letting women into your group, in your club?
It's Men's mental health is
Jeez.
my short answer. I know. It sounds funny. Like, yeah.
He said you bring women that's not gonna be healthy to our mental.
It's easier. Like,
That is funny. That shit made me laugh. I ain't gonna lie.
on a concrete level, like, okay, so women have all sorts of places that they could go and have sisterhood together, right? And you know, girls are big on calling each other up and stuff, right? Like, so we're pretty close. How often do we actually talk on the phone?
Pretty often.
Not as often as your girl might with some other girl, though.
Oh yeah. They talk.
Men work better when they get together, and they work better in packs.
Mm-hmm.
So
when women get involved,
there are parts of masonry that have women around.
Yeah, I've seen that.
The Eastern Star, the Order of Amaranth.
So they do it in a whole nother way. They have their own traditions, right? Compared to you guys.
Right. And in a lot of Eastern...
But you guys will not let them...
We don't...
Said no girls allowed. That shit like Little Rascals.
Yes.
No girls allowed.
It's so that we can have a safe place to be together and not worry about what women might think. It takes away... Men
it takes away the bullshit.
You're not competing with each other for the favor of the ladies. You don't have to worry about, what's my wife going to think?
No, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
You know, you can truly open up and learn to be a stronger man with the support of your brothers without having women around.
I like that, man.
It's
Pause for
important.
that. I like that.
That's fine. So where you from? so where you from, bro?
Yeah.
I was born in Tampa, but I grew up in Illinois.
Okay.
In a little town called Sullivan, Illinois.
It's a small town?
5,000 people.
Everybody know everybody?
If you didn't know your business, you should just ask the person next to you because they will tell it to you. But it's part of why I ended up becoming a Mason because the Illinois Masonic home was there. It's a nursing home that used to exist and only Masons could go there.
Okay.
And Masons, when they retired, would give up all their property in order to help everybody in perpetuity. Like, I'll give you all my land or all my money, and you take care of me for the rest of my life. And not only will that help me, but it's going to help the next guy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's tight.
Not too long ago, Indiana still has a Masonic home, and I was in a position where I didn't need a car for a while, and I donated my car to the Indiana Masonic home.
Oh, that's nice. How was it like growing up out there? 5,000 people.
Boring.
Was it any African Americans?
You know what? We had the black girl and the black kid.
The black girl and the black
family over there.
We had the gay guy and the lesbian.
That's it.
We had 4
with 5,000. With 5,000, they ain't gonna be that many.
Representing each one. We had the one dude named Chinese Eddie, and he was Korean.
Chinese Eddie was Korean.
For real. The Indian people owned the one hotel in town. You know?
What?
Damn,
Yeah.
I get it. That small town.
It was tiny.
He said we had the black people over
He said
there.
the black kid,
We
the black guy,
had
the
the black girl and the black boy.
Hey, that's cool.
Yeah.
Small towns, man. And to people that don't know, man, you know, these small towns do exist. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're out there, man.
And you think because you live in the city and you see a lot of us, it ain't really like that throughout America. You know what I mean? The small towns don't really have a lot of black
And
people.
we were lacking in diversity. We had an off-Broadway theater though. So we had people come in and visit. I was blessed there. I was a little bit different from a lot of small towns because during the summer we had a lot of actors that were staying in town.
They came up.
Okay.
So I got the influence of a lot of different cultures because people were coming through town just to stay there for the summer and act.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So they had like a lot of shows and shit.
They did.
Okay.
They did.
Okay. You had just one movie theater?
We didn't have a movie theater.
Damn, y'all didn't have a movie theater?
We only had until I was 15. We only had one stoplight.
What?
Oh,
Yeah.
damn. Yeah, that's small.
Yeah, it was a big deal when they put in the second stoplight. Big deal.
Big deal. We got a second stoplight.
You know it's another stoplight.
We're becoming a real city.
Stoplight down the street.
We're becoming a real city out here.
So what? It was A train come through the town or
Lots of trains.
lots of trains?
Lots of trains.
Said the railroad will be
But
coming
not
through
like
sooner
passenger
or later.
trains. Just the freighter. You know,
Yeah,
just
the freight trains and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Lots of
Man,
times carrying
I just be wondering
pigs.
what that shit be like, bro. I was like, bro,
It's
that shit like a
quiet.
movie.
Go out,
to
go
me.
over to Boulder City sometime.
Oh, I go to Boulder
And
City all
like
the time.
go there about 10 o'clock at night. And
Yeah,
step
it's
outside
nothing
when
out
you can
there.
Just
It's
hear
just-
nothing.
Yeah.
That's a lot of what I'd have. They
that's
they
pretty
rolled
cool.
up the sidewalks about 10 o'clock.
That's pretty cool. Roll up the sidewalks is crazy. You don't see nobody out there. And it's kind of like Hawaii was like that too. Like when I go out to Maui and shit, like the whole city be closed.
But they
9
shut
o'clock-
down at like
9 o'clock, you can't even go to Burger King. It's
You
closed.
know, coming from Vegas, I went out. I was staying in Florida, Brownsville, and it was just like that. You had to get your drinks and everything before like 9:30 or 10, and then everything shuts down.
Right.
And then you got they had a lot of candy houses though,
Right.
where you go get your little drink and beers and all that.
Oh,
But
you
could-
I hate cities like
My
that.
town, you couldn't until very recently you couldn't buy alcohol on a Sunday.
Yeah, a lot of places are still like
Oh,
that.
the liquor store was
Especially-
closed.
No, I was in Louisiana. That's where that was. I was in
Everything's
Brownsville
closed.
in
Yeah,
Louisiana.
liquor store
Yeah.
closed
Yeah.
in the South.
Yeah.
That's it.
Tell you, we all at
It
church.
wasn't
We went
quite
to church today.
like rural Montana
Church and
where
football.
you can't buy toilet paper on a Sunday.
Damn.
Out upon that.
Nothing. Oh, you stayed out there too?
No, I just know about some different places.
Hey, you watch you be watching like 1923 and like Yellowstone and shit. You watch that
No.
shit? No, you don't never seen none of that. No, the Kevin Costner little spinoffs in 1883 and all
I know
that.
it
Little
exists.
cowboys and shit.
Kevin
I watched
Costner.
Twin Peaks.
Oh,
I watched Twin Peaks.
What is that?
Watched
The
Twin
the
Peaks
volcano?
and, what?
Is that the volcano movie?
No, it was
No.
a movie. It's a TV show in
Oh,
the
okay.
1990s. That
Oh, all right.
kind of has similar philosophies that Masons might, but
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that.
check it out sometime.
Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
That's cool.
About a detective who figures out things through his dreams and stuff.
Oh, that I was talking about that third eye shit. Oh,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
They trying to be woke, man. They trying to move stuff with their mind and shit. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, motherfucker trying to, you know what I mean? Trying to unlock that other, what they say, 90%. We only use 10 or something.
Yeah.
I
they
think
trying
that
to
that's a
unlock-
myth too.
You think that's a myth?
Yeah, I think we use the majority of our brain. We're just unconscious. of
Have you
what
seen
we
those
use.
people with elongated skulls?
Yeah,
Cone
You
head.
So
think
what if
you think they
this-
had
Like
more
coneheads.
mind capacity than us?
maybe. What if this?
Yeah, I
What
think
if
their
we're
brain was
using?
little.
What if we're always using 100% of our brain or close to thereof, but we don't know it? And the more you become enlightened, the more you can be aware
That you're
that
using
you're
100%.
using those portions of it, or that maybe somebody else is preying upon it and using it. When you talk about having anxiety and stuff,
Right.
that your bad feelings may be something that's feeding those Anunnakis and stuff like that. All the bad things out there in the universe that maybe in a different dimension they feed the actual energy that they eat.
Right.
Because we're nothing
Or
but
these-
energy. That the energy
Right.
they eat is those bad vibrations when you get worried, or you get angry, or you get anxious about something, or sad. Maybe this is from that TV show Twin Peaks. This is actually what they dig into. That there's these people who live above the convenience store. Think about our modern conveniences and the way they get in the way of who we really are. And they feed off of pain and suffering. It's caused
Off
by
our
convenience.
depression, huh?
Depression,
Yeah.
yes. I think that now that again, this is not to do with masonry, but ideas that Masons may come across from time to time.
Right.
I think that there are entities out there that feed off of our depression, for lack of a better blanket term, off of our negative emotions.
You ever heard about the 11 dimensions of the mind and like
I've heard about 10 dimensions.
10
of the mind.
dimensions? Okay. Yeah, and right. We're like so basically it's other ways that we can see the world and
Yeah,
in
physics
other
proves
dimensions.
that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, math can prove it. We just can't make it happen.
just
You
can't
know,
make it happen.
mathematically, you can form a mathematical formula that proves a way to turn a basketball inside out through the needle without tearing the ball.
Right.
But you can't do it here because we don't have the same atmosphere, right?
Absolutely.
Things like that almost prove that God has to exist.
Right.
You know, at pi, like 3.14 with all the numbers after it, that has every sequence of every number ever that would ever exist.
Yeah.
So if you make those words represented by those numbers, then every book that's ever been written and every idea that's ever been thought and this conversation that we're having right now exists in that circle, in pi, right?
Right.
So there's nothing that exists that hasn't existed.
Yeah, this
We're
is
just kicking ideas back around again.
Basically, every decision that you made has already been made versus you haven't made it or have made it or whatever, and then in a whole nother parallel world, you made the decision that you decided not to make. You know what I mean? And he's going on the course of everything, rather if you made a left or you made a right. You know what I mean? It's basically, you know what I mean? It's an ongoing circle. You know what I mean? But it's all done happened before, and it will happen
it's
again.
All happening right now.
Yeah,
all
all at once. All at once, all of time
There's
is
a reality
folding
where
on
you're
each other.
white and I'm black, dude.
That part. You feel me?
There's,
you know what I mean?
I do. I'm feeling a lot of soul right now.
Come on now.
I'm feeling a lot of soul.
I'm telling you, man. You know what I mean? It's a good transfer. It's a good transfer, man. This is what we do, man. We posted on here. We killing time, man.
Hey,
you know what we should do, man.
I got two more questions for you, man.
Get on.
What is the most?
Because my girl's gonna kick my ass if I don't cook supper.
Hey, Sohaila. Shout out to Sohaila. All right.
Shout out.
Hey, so what is the most rewarding aspect of being a Freemason for you personally?
Becoming better, becoming a more centered person, and knowing that comes from the support of my brothers, growing, becoming something new every day, and trying to take parts of myself that I know that I can work on, and looking back and seeing the work that I've done, to use it as motivation to continue to make myself better and closer to God.
Oh, man, I like that.
Just trying to get closer to God, man. The Creator.
All right.
You know?
Got you one more, my man. We're going to let you go. What is one piece of advice you would give someone considering joining the Freemason?
Find a lodge and start hanging out. Don't go down the rabbit hole on the internet and start reading stuff. Everybody's got an opinion, and everybody thinks that they know what's going on, just like you coming at me with a little handshake. You can read a bunch of stuff, and like I keep saying, our entire ritual is available online. Reading that ritual doesn't make a person a Mason. What makes a person a Mason sometimes isn't even going through the ritual. I became a Mason when I was 21, and I was in my mid-30s before it started to really notice that, oh, these lessons are taking. And that happened when I started actively going to a lodge and being around other men who wanted to grow all the time. Nobody's perfect, but this dude might be better at something than you are. And you might be a little bit better at something than he is as far as that pursuit to become better.
Yeah.
So find a lodge. Start hanging around. Ask questions. Don't be shy. If you go and eat supper with them, every single lodge eats supper before they meet or has some sort of little fellowship hour before.
They feed you for free?
We pay $7 at my lodge because we like to
Eat good?
we just like to take care of it with each other.
Eating good with $7 is crazy.
Like there are lodges there's a lodge in Oregon that owns some parking territory that the University of Oregon football games go and park there. So their guys don't have to pay a whole lot, right? My lodge is a bunch of blue collar dudes, and we got to keep the bills paid because we have a building and we have scholarships that we give out. So we decide as a group, like,
this is what we're gonna do.
okay,
Yeah,
we
it ain't
go in
like
together.
it ain't like the church.
$7
He said
a
it's like the
piece
church.
means that we can group that together and get a real good meal as opposed to, oh, I'm going to go get a burger on the way there.
Yeah.
And you have time to sit down. And you
down and
sit
count.
down.
Y'all over there cooking, or y'all just bringing like some stuff
Nah, y'all
that
got chefs.
That depends on the lodge.
I was about to say, y'all got some chefs, right?
My lodge has a few chefs around. The junior warden of the lodge, who's the third in command, is in charge of refreshment. So he'll design it for the year. You have some lodges that just might get a few pizzas ahead of time, up to lodges that do formal banquets and seven-course meals.
I've seen some of the food at your one of your lodges that they had a big old a big old pig with the whole roasted a whole pig.
That's culturally because we're here in Las Vegas, and you know we got a lot of proud Filipino brothers here in town, and I love that because that means I get fed really well.
They pulled out the pig.
My Filipino brothers, we roast a pig a few times a year.
That's dope.
But there's another guy that's a member of my lodge that's a Michelin star chef, so he'll make us some prime rib or something. But some nights we just get fried chicken. Some nights, if we all feel
tell
busy.
me about that fried chicken, man.
You know that fried chicken. We gonna cover that chicken, man.
Every time we do a second degree, which is called the Fellowcraft degree, my lodge has Fellowcraft fried chicken, and we just go to Smith's. And just pick up some fried chicken and some macaroni salad, some potato salad, and then nobody has to cook, nobody has to clean up.
That's what's up, man.
So sometimes you eat really good, sometimes you're just there to eat a few pieces of chicken with some brothers and know that it's awesome to sit there with some dudes.
That's dope.
So that's my biggest piece of advice. If you're interested in masonry, even if you aren't interested in joining, we are a very open group. Find a lodge near you, go and talk to them. The guys will be open to talk and tell you what we're about. And you never know, you might end up wanting to join. And if you've been in some trouble, tell them what I said. That, hey, I might have been in some trouble, but I'm a growing man, and everybody makes mistakes. You can't tell me you didn't make a mistake. I challenge them to say, if you really are here to make good men better, aren't I a good man who's becoming better by having gotten out of trouble and corrected the path of my life? I want to continue to do that. So
that's big words,
that's the challenge that I leave our listeners with.
That's what's up, man.
Real talk, bro.
Let's see, you got anything else for our guests?
Man. Yo, I fuck with it, man. Hey, all I got to say, man, is you heard this man talk, man. You know what I mean? Join something positive, man. Be enlightened. You know what I mean? Find yourself spiritually. You know what I mean? If you can love yourself, then you can love other people. And then you don't have to worry about the bullshit. You know what I mean? It's all about loving. Like again, I said it before. You know what I mean? I didn't give a fuck about myself, so I didn't give a fuck about other people. When I start to love myself, then I start to love everybody. You know what I'm saying? And I realize that the hurt and the shit that you be putting out, man. You know what I mean? So increase the positivity, my nigga, and just keep it gangster for those that need to. You hear me?
You're hitting that nail on the head. There's somewhere in Psalms that it says, think about the fact that we're made in His image.
Right.
If we're made in His image, didn't you think that He expects you to love yourself?
Right.
And to be the creator of your own universe here?
This all was predetermined. He already knew that I was gonna take this path that I'm taking. You know what I'm saying? And if you believe that, then you believe my next steps were planned too. You know what I mean? So know that.
He knew you were going to be here with me tonight.
Thank you.
That's right. 3D.
You already know we killing time.
Hey, we killing time, man. I want to say thank you to our guest,
hey,
Dustin,
I want to thank you for having me on here.
Do that.
What are you?
Hold on, I got you.
What are you?
No, I don't want the wrestling grip. I don't want the wrestling grip. Hey, thanks for my guest, Dustin,
thank you for having me on, Trey. Thank you for having me on.
We really appreciate you for coming, man. Thank you very much, man. Yeah. And we are killing time.
Thank you.
Yeah. Illuminati.
Go play my song one time.
That's how you know when they part of the Illuminati. When they do like anytime like Jay-Z hold his microphone like this. That's how you know he's Illuminati.
That's how you know.
Illuminati got a microphone.
Up to divers, man. We killing time and we're out.
Cut through like a knife. Every topic got 'em thinking twice. Yeah, this that podcast changed your whole life.